just at the club partying. Now you godly now? The smoking, the drinking, all of that, it's not gonna fix the broken heart that you have. God, give me a sign. This ain't the sign. Send another one. Security guard had to escort me out. I'm outside throwing up water. I didn't want to live anymore. If you feel like you're nothing without something that is an idol in your life, watch out for the ones that want you first. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I'm finna marry this man. He give you grace. That don't mean you need to keep doing it though. I thought I was healed from this. No, you're not. All of this that they did to me, and you want me to forgive them? I'm showing the good, the bad, the ugly side of me.
Been stressed for so long, so stuck in my own way. So I'ma enjoy this moment. It's the day that the Lord has made. Nothing to say, nothing to talk about. Oh, it's what's tomorrow right now.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Lavish Kia, and I'm super excited to share my first video with you guys because I have been procrastinating making a YouTube channel for the longest. And as you can see by the title, I'm going to be diving into the raw, the unfiltered journey of living for God after dealing with suicidal thoughts, depression, feeling unseen, unheard, unloved, losing friendships, losing relationships, dealing with trauma, trying to heal your inner child, trying to hide your hurt behind drugs, going to the club, drinking, sex, all of this stuff, because all of it is temporary and it's not going to fix the broken heart that you have, because it sure didn't fix mine. I just pray that you heal from the things that you have not spoken about. This journey can be hard, I know it, but let's get into it. In the form of a story, I'm going to share how I overcame everything that life has thrown at me. It was all with the help of God, because the drugs, sex, smoking, all of that did not help me, and I was still broken. God, he completely changed my life around, and I'm being vulnerable, okay? So don't judge. We listen, we don't judge, right? Yeah. One of the main things that affected my life was losing my virginity at a young age. 8th grade, 14 years old, 2017. I'm 22 right now, y'all. You didn't need to know that, but I'm sharing these things with you so you can kind of get the, you know what I'm saying? Did I want to? No. But all because I was afraid of saying no affected me for these next upcoming years. I'm in middle school, right? So one day, the boyfriend that I had at the time asked me to come to the restroom for a second. You know, me being young-minded, I didn't think nothing of it, so I met him at the restroom. Next thing I know, I hear people in the background walking up, and then he pulls me inside of the restroom. One thing led to another, then we're in the restroom stall. Eventually, somebody did walk in. At this moment, I'm like, Lord, I want to be out of here. Like, why am I here? Get me out of here, please! So picture a girl and a boy in the restroom stall, the boys' bathroom at that. Y'all know y'all need to be in the restroom. One thing led to another, and he tries to have sex with me. It didn't happen the first time. He pulled down his pants and he put his private part in my face. Yeah. I constantly moved my head, and I knew he could sense that I didn't want to do it. And again, people are in the restroom stall, so it's just like, what the heck? Nothing happened the first time, but because I didn't say no, it kind of led him to think that he could keep trying to do it. And eventually it did happen, and I lost my virginity. Yeah. At first I didn't like it, but because it was something that kept happening, I eventually started to not dislike it as much, and then it led me to be hypersexual. If you don't know what hypersexual is, it's basically when your mind just constantly drifts to sexual things. Like, you're always thinking about sex. You can't really look at nobody or anything without getting this mental picture of sexual thoughts. You can't really control them, and you kind of get curious. I'm like, I don't want to be doing this thing, but I'm doing it. So is this how this supposed to go? Your girl start watching porn. Yeah. So at this point, I'm thinking sex is a normal thing. Fast forward later on in high school, I found out that the boy I lost my virginity to only stayed with me because we had sex. Not only was I hurt, but the thing that I thought was a secret wasn't a secret, and that hurt me even more. Like, my heart. I didn't want to lose my virginity, but it happened. Because of that, I thought sex was what would keep a man around, and those were nothing but negative thoughts that just affected me greatly in the future. So I just felt like I had to perform. I had to give myself up, even if I didn't want to, in order to keep somebody around. Yeah, that was me. But me, I was the girl that grew up in church. Little old me singing little church songs, this little light of mine, all of this type of things. Like, we was in there, we was in the church. for real. But being in the church, people think just because you're in church, you're perfect. But people in church are some of the most imperfect people. That's why they in church. What you think? When I was little, I just knew that everyone loved little old me. But as I got older, I felt like I wasn't deserving of love because of the things that I done at a young age. Losing my virginity. The pastor always talking about save yourself to marriage, don't have sex before marriage, all this, that, and the third. And I'm 14 years old and I'm already having sex. So I'm like, I know God don't love me because I'm already disobeying. I felt like a disappointment because my dad was a preacher, my mom was singing in the choir. I'm doing all this stuff. My family didn't know. I felt like a disappointment because I done lost my virginity. And I know good well nobody should be losing their virginity at 14 years old. I also changed schools very often. I was always having to get used to new environments, new people. And it was scary for me because growing up, I felt unseen. I felt unloved. I felt like I would always get looked over and the attention that I brought would easily get snatched up by someone or something else. Growing up, I'm like, okay, I'm shy. And I held on to that negative identity. And girl, you was not shy. Don't be speaking that over yourself. I easily fell into the traps of being envious, jealous, and comparing myself to other people because I wasn't happy with myself. I got bullied by my siblings. I was the fat kid growing up. I think I may show some pictures so y'all can kind of get the gist and I can bring this story to life, but I'm being vulnerable. Don't do too much, okay, y'all? I'm gonna catch y'all laughing at my pictures. I was a fat kid growing up and my siblings, they would team up against me, call me names, and it would hurt my feelings. It would.
You have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Yeah, it still does. No, I'm just playing. I'm slowly getting over it, but some things still kind of trigger me. You know what I'm saying? I tried to hide my hurt for quite a while, and I felt like an outcast because I didn't feel loved by the people that was supposed to love me. I felt like an outcast because I was the bigger child, and that stuck with me for a long time. But imagine God telling you to forgive the people that hurt you. Like, God, you just want me to forgive them? All of this that they did to me, and you want me to forgive them? Sir, you okay up there? Because you don't know what I went through. I didn't bully them, they bullied me, and you want me to forgive them and they supposed to be loving me and they my family? No. Forgiveness is not a one-time thing. You can forgive somebody and then they do something that trigger you, and God telling you you're not supposed to have no hardness in your heart. You forgave them once, but they go again and do something that trigger you and that hurt your feelings, and now you mad at them again. You gotta forgive them again, because forgiveness is not like, oh, I did this one time, I'll forgive you forever. Because no, people will test your patience. For real. People can hurt you multiple times, but God is gonna tell you you gotta forgive them multiple times. I'm gonna read something for y'all. So Matthew 18:21-22. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times should I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. Not 7 times, but 77 times. Yeah, I'm putting that down, but God made me realize that he don't keep tabs on us like we keep tabs on other people. Somebody can owe us something and we like, you owe me this, but then God like, what if I did that to you? You owe me this and I helped you out and you ain't, you know what I'm saying? So God gonna flip the script and be like, you holding grudges, you ain't forgive them, but what if I don't forgive you with all of the bad things you did? Yeah. Oh Lord, I'm still working on it because sometimes stuff be triggering me, and just like healing is not a one-time thing. You can feel like you healed from something and then somebody come along or something triggers you or reminds you of your past and you just feel like you just back to square one. I thought I was healed from this. No, you're not, because definitely that's me. Lord, it's hard. Even my sister, because I was bullied by them, simple things can just trigger me, and now I'm mad and I'm like, Lord, they did this in the past. You want me to forgive them and they still triggering me and they still hurting me? Because all I'm thinking of is how I was bullied by them when I was little. They're saying something mean to me or being rude. Now I'm thinking, are y'all trying to bully me again? Like, in my mind, that's me, because I'm remembering all of the bad. I remember what I went through when I was little. When I got to an age old enough for understanding, my mom told me a little about the coming of her 3 children. First, she had my sister. Next, she was hoping for a boy, but she had me. And then she tried one more time and she had my brother. In my mind, I felt like if she would have gotten a boy sooner, she wouldn't have tried again and I wouldn't have existed. And I held on to that for quite a while. And I felt like she favored my brother. I held that grudge for so long. I was mad at him. I felt like he wouldn't get in trouble for nothing. We be at church and he sleeping. Me and my sister try to go to sleep and she pinch us. Like, girl, look at him. He's sleeping. I was so bitter because of it, and I would start being mean to my brother because they was bullying me. Nobody see what they're doing and she's showing favoritism to him. And because I didn't get the attention I needed when I was younger, I started to seek the wrong attention from the wrong people, the wrong places, all of that. Questioning whether I was good enough, whether I was pretty enough. I didn't feel like I was loved by the people that was supposed to love me. So I was looking for other people to show me that love that I didn't get. Back to the jealousy thing and comparison. When I was little in like elementary school, a new girl came in the classroom and she got all of the attention. And I was upset by it. For her to be in elementary school, when I tell you, she was like, bro, and I'm just like, is she in the right grade? She got all of the attention and I was mad. Jealousy is a dangerous thing. Comparison can lead to jealousy that if you're not careful can affect your relationships in the future. And at a young age, I struggled with that because I wasn't happy with myself. So anybody that got more attention than me, I was upset by it and I was jealous. I know a lot of people have struggled with being a hater or either being hated on, and either one is not a good look. It definitely was not on me. And that definitely affected my relationships in the future. Just like jealousy, comparison, being envious of the next person, I wasn't able to recognize those sins right away. Some things are easier to recognize than others. As you go along and you just be like, God, I'm struggling with this. God, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm mad at this person. God, I know this ain't right, but can you help me? If you do that, he will help you, because Lord knows I was struggling with a lot of stuff at a young age. Around 6 or 7 years old, let me tell y'all, I tried to steal something. It didn't go as planned, but I'm gonna just give y'all a little story. So I'm in the store with my dad. I think my mom and my siblings were there. Then eventually I was in the checkout aisle. They have all of the candy, the gum and all that. So I grabbed some gum and then I think I put it in my pocket, and then I tried to catch up with my family. Eventually my dad figured it out that I had something that wasn't mine. You know how we be little, we think we know everything, we think our parents stupid. I was like, somebody gave this to me at school and I was saving it to eat it now, or I'm saying some dumb lie. It was stupid. He knew I was lying. And guess what he did, y'all? He told the police that was working at the store that night. I was like, sir, are you working for 12? Because why you had to tell me like that? I didn't know at the time, but he was helping me, because that could have been something that if I was older could have led me to be in jail and all of that. He was teaching me that this ain't the right thing to do. What if I wasn't here and the police caught you stealing? What would you have done then? I still didn't like it though, 'cause I'm like, sir, why you had to do me like that? But that little seed that was planted in my mind grew as I got older, and I stole, like, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I was far from perfect. I stole from jobs that I worked for, and I'm not talking a couple of dollars, I'm talking hundreds. I was racking up on that money. I was buying shoes, clothes, the whole nine, because I'm like, oh, and you know how when you do something and you get away with it and you just keep doing it because you're like, ain't nothing gonna stop me. I done did it one time, I can keep going. And eventually one time I was working at the store and I got caught. Something happened and I'm not gonna wait, I got caught. Wait, what did I do? Well, they said we dojo. So it was this older lady that came through my line. I rung up everything so she can get her total price, her right price. But then, once I told her the price, I took off everything that was on the screen. So that way, she give me the money that she owes. But I'm just giving an example. On our end, it shows that she only paid for one item out of 30. So I'm like, I done got this. Oh Lord, we in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm racking up. And then as she walking off, she looking at her receipt, because she like, I done bought all this stuff and only one thing on my receipt. What's going on? It ain't that I didn't give her the right change or money, but she's looking confused. I done bought all this stuff and why is a couple of things on my thing? So she took it to one of the managers that was in the store that night, and they looking at me like, what's going on? Yeah. They sent me home that day, and then another day they told me to come in the store, and I still lied. I'm on the camera doing something on the screen, and they like, what was you doing, this, that, and the third? I still lied. But y'all, I could have been in jail. But that just goes to show that even when I was up here sitting and doing all this stuff, God was right there saving my behind, because I could have been in jail. My parents didn't even know. I could have been in jail. Yeah, I could have been in jail. It was bad, y'all. It was bad. On to middle school. Middle school was the time where my insecurities shined the most. Being in gym class, when you big, you try to wear big clothes to kind of hide your physique, but it still don't work because now you looking like in your stuff and you still look big. You have to get dressed in the locker room, and a lot of people are skinny and they like, okay, they can just take their shirt off and put it on in front of anybody. They don't care. But that wasn't me, y'all. That was not me. I would wait 5-10 minutes just so I can make sure I got in the restroom stall because I didn't want nobody to see what's under my clothes because I didn't even like it. I was very insecure. I didn't like my teeth. I didn't like my body. I didn't like nothing about me. And then on top of that, hearing girls that's like skinny, like real skinny, and I'm talking about real skinny, they didn't like their body and they like, oh, I look big. And I'm like, girl, shut up. You don't look nothing big. Shut up. And I'm over here big and you talk about you look big. If you want to switch bodies, we can, because that was the type of time I was on. Y'all talking about you don't like this, but I'm the one that's dealing with it. Do you want to switch so you can get in my shoes? Because I hated hearing that. I didn't like the attention I got when I was big because you can't really hide it. So you're trying to hide yourself, but you really can't. It was a struggle for me growing up overweight. I feel like being overweight was the reason I was overlooked as a teen, whether it was in relationships, sports, friendships. I just felt like being overweight made everything hard for me. When I ran track, I think I was like 11, 12 or 13, one of those ages. I'm gonna show some pictures so y'all can kind of, feel like you're living my story. I wasn't as big, but I was a little, I had
2 hours later.
I would say I was big boned. I wasn't like fat
6.5 hours later.
because I was, but I still was like a little chubbier than other people. I wasn't like skinny. Then one of my coaches gave me a name, Big Juice, and I'm just like, why in the world would you call me that? She started calling me that, so other people started calling me that, and it's like nobody knew my real name for real because they done gave me this name that I don't like, and now people are calling me something that I don't like. I tried out for the basketball team in middle school and I didn't make it my freshman year, but then the next year I made it, and then the coach was like, where were you this whole time? And I'm just sitting there like, sir, you must have overlooked me because I was there. I was there, you didn't see me, but now you see me. Let's explain how my childhood was. Being overlooked, nobody saw me for me. All they saw was my body and that I wasn't good enough. I always felt like the last pick. I'm gonna give y'all a little scenario. Think of a loaf of bread. You know that those end pieces are the pieces that nobody really like. Once you get to those pieces and you like, dang, I don't want these pieces of bread. Some people throw those last end pieces away, or some people would just be like, I guess I don't got no old bread. I don't feel like going to the store, so I guess I'll eat these end pieces of bread. That explains how I felt my childhood was, just getting picked because there was no other option. That sums up my elementary to middle school years. Even though that sums up a lot of my life, I was just overlooked and tossed in the trash. Yeah. I was always trying to fight to get out of the shadows. In middle school, I was in this after school program and some twins came along. I'm not even sure if they will see this video, but like I said, I'm being vulnerable. I'm showing the good, the bad, the ugly side of me. So it was some twins that came in and we became the best of friends. And one of them I became best friends with. But I was not a good best friend because I wasn't happy with myself. So I was jealous of my best friend. We didn't talk about much. Sometimes I felt like, you know how best friends always have something that they talk about, or like they like, oh, I gotta tell my best friend this. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, best friend, this, the tea, all that and third. We didn't talk about nothing. So I just felt like she didn't even, I'm not putting this on her because I was in the wrong in this situation. I felt like she didn't even want to be my best friend because I wasn't very pretty. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't fit. I was a little chubby. I felt like she didn't want to be my best friend in the first place. Aside from that, we always was at each other's houses. We would play basketball together, but playing basketball with the twins wasn't very fun for me because I was always getting overlooked. I was always the last pick. People would look past me and look at them. They wouldn't see me at all. I felt like the kid in the background. We stuck with each other for years, but eventually, you know, in high school, you grow apart, you go to separate schools, and we slowly started to, you know, talk less and less. And I felt like our friendship started to fade after we switched up schools and things of that nature. Before the age of 14, I started to experiment with things. Just letting y'all know, it was a girl. We got a little touchy. It wasn't like full-on sexual activities, but we got touchy with the hands and just just picture what was going on. I ain't gotta say too much. But that experience was just a one-time thing, and it was enough to let me know that, girl, you don't like girls, you like boys, okay? A lot of things happen in my life that's like girl, but you know, when you're younger, you're dealing with identity crisis, you don't know what you want. I feel like all teenagers go through those moments, but I knew, I'm like, girl, this is not it. We don't go that way. There was many times in my life I didn't like the position I was in. Growing up, me and my family, we wasn't very financially stable. We would always move from house to house. That means we changed schools a lot. Before high school, my parents eventually divorced, and it didn't hit me at first, but one day, I don't know if it was the freshman year or the next, one day I just bust into tears because I'm like, can I do something to change the decision? But eventually my family parted ways. My mom stayed with her mom, so I'm with my mom. My brother was with my dad. My sister was off to college, so she didn't stay with us anyway, so it was just me and my brother. I was with my mom and my grandma, and that household was just so toxic. I hated it, but I didn't have a say-so of where we could go, so you know, you just gotta deal with it and suck it up. I slept right next to my mom. I can literally feel her breathing next to my ear in a room cluttered full of junk. I wasn't happy at all. For my freshman and sophomore year, I went to a private school. It was a Christian school, but I only went there for basketball. I was playing basketball at the time, and my coach was like, come here, we can do this, we can get you a scholarship, you know what I'm saying, all of this. He was selling a dream, telling me, if you come over here, you guarantee this. Selling a dream. And I done went to the private school. I didn't even like it. I was only there for basketball. I let one man decide my next steps because he was in my ear telling me, oh, I can get you this. At that private school, I would say I was an influencer, but not a influencer for something good. One day I was supposed to be studying for a test or a quiz or something like that. My mom bought me the test answer booklet. My first intention was, okay, I'm gonna use this book to study, but you know, that was just out the door, and I was using it to cheat. So eventually I told my friends, I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying, you need help on this, I got you, this, that, you know, you good, you but yeah, I thought it was in there. Like I said, once I got away with something the first time, I just kept doing it because I'm like, okay, we got this. We was writing whole answer sheets for quizzes, tests, all that. But one day we was taking a test. I think it was an exam too. We was taking an exam, and our teacher was out, so we had a sub. So we like, oh, boy, we in there. Everybody done wrote their little answer sheets and all that, but somebody had an answer sheet and they passed it to somebody, and the teacher saw it and they took it. And she showed it to our teacher the next day. When I tell you, the teacher switched up everything from there. She didn't go with the regular test no more. She came up with her own, so we thought we was beating the system. And we didn't. We got caught. When I tell y'all, so many things happen that I am ashamed of, and that just goes to show this is only the beginning. All the stuff that you feel like, oh Lord, you're ashamed of, nobody will forgive you, you can't tell nobody, like all of this bad stuff that you done, God, He give you grace. That don't mean you need to keep doing it though, cause yeah, Lord knows I done some things. My freshman and sophomore year, I also got braces. You know, when you get braces, your teeth be messed up. You kind of glow up after a while. You get those braces. Once I got those braces, a few people that knew me in elementary school, you know, you get those texts, oh, you glowed up, this, that, and the third. But I didn't really like to hear that, because if somebody say you glowed up, that meant you was ugly before. Like, sometimes hearing you glowed up is not a compliment, because that means they telling you, oh, you was ugly back then, now you the jump. That's what that gives me. That ain't no compliment, okay? Hearing you glowed up is not a compliment in my eyes. For my junior year, I switched schools. I had to get up out of that private school because I did not like it. We used to have chapel, all of this. We had to have uniform, wear our little skirts with our little button-up shirt and all this. If you would have told me that I would be where I am now, I would have been like, man, I didn't like none of that stuff. I'm like, get me out of this private school. I don't like it. Some of us was kind of hiding it from our coach because he didn't want us to go nowhere. He wanted us to stay there, so we was keeping it a secret. But next year, I dipped. I was out of there. I went to a public school the next year. This year, I was very quiet. I didn't know nobody. Like I said, I was kind of used to changing schools a lot, so I had to get used to all of these people. But this year, I met this boy, and I didn't know what he saw in me, but I'm just like, okay. Later in the year, we started dating, but we kind of got sexual too fast, so it was kind of a lustful relationship, and it wasn't gonna last long because we were missing something important, and that was God. So our relationship was just based off of sex. To be honest, he tried to get me to open up. It was kind of hard for me because, like I said, growing up, it was a lot of traumatic experiences for me and that I was ashamed of and that nobody knew about. So him trying to get me to open up was hard for him, but eventually I kind of opened up, but I still had some walls up because, you know, I was ashamed. I didn't like the fact that I lost my virginity, that I was doing all this stuff, and I didn't want to tell nobody. But at that time, he made me happy. My parents had just divorced, and you know those times where you're feeling down and somebody just comes at the right moment to uplift you and make you laugh and all these things. That's how it was for me. I was going through a lot. This person came in. I guess he wanted me. I'm like, I don't know why he would want me. But yeah, he made me happy at the time. You know, the honeymoon stage where you just like, oh, my man, like, oh. And staying up on the phone, going to sleep on the phone, all of this stuff, like, you know, the honeymoon you know, the honeymoon stage where you just like so in love, like can't nobody tell me nothing, I'm finna marry this man, like Lord, that was me. But we should have started off as friends and we didn't, so that kind of like affected our relationship. I felt like the only thing that really kept us close was that we had sex, and that just reminded me of my past relationship. I didn't have many friends because I had just came to the school, so I put a lot of attention on him because I didn't have nobody else to talk to, so I would always try to talk to him. I didn't even try to make friends because I thought nobody would want to be friends with me, those negative thoughts, because of what I believed earlier on. Also, during my junior year was where I wore a lot of makeup. It didn't look good at all. It was a concealer. The concealer was orange. If y'all can see, I don't even think I have like pictures or anything, but if y'all can see the makeup, just picture a pumpkin or something. Like, that was me. Oh, I ain't gonna say nobody ain't tell me, but my eyebrows was the size of, my eyebrows were huge, my makeup was orange. I was just like, I'm literally just a girl trying to learn how to do makeup, but really I was using makeup to cover up my scars and all of that because I didn't like the person I was under the makeup. So I used that to kind of hide myself. A lot of times I wore it at the wrong time. I wore it when I didn't even need to. I had basketball practice early in the morning. I would put the concealer on my face. I had basketball games. I would put concealer on it and people would like recognize it or say something about it and I would deny it. But girl, how you gonna deny having makeup and you looking like a pumpkin? Girl, what? Like, you can't. What? I'm trying to find something orange. I don't even have it. You see this orange? Like, whatever. Oftentimes my boyfriend, he would ask me why I wore makeup and all of this, but I was ashamed because I didn't like who I was. I would deny it. I was ashamed. I was insecure, so I just tried to put makeup on to, you know, cover up. It didn't work, but yeah. I also slimmed down once I got in high school, but I still wasn't the size that I wanted to be. I wasn't like completely skinny, but because you know when you get taller and all this, that and the third, you slim down a little bit, but I still was insecure. I would also push my insecurities onto my boyfriend. That's why you can't really get in a relationship when you're insecure. I wouldn't say when you're insecure because a lot of people are in it. When you're insecure, you put a lot of pressure on the person to kind of tell you, oh, you pretty, you this, that, and third. But if they don't do that, now you're looking at them for validation. They don't give it to you because you not uplifting your own self. So you're looking for somebody else to uplift you. You don't get it. So now you're just like, sad. But during this stage, I was playing basketball. I was kind of tomboyish. Not too much, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all some pictures, but not too much. I was tomboyish during my junior year, and my boyfriend, he gave me a few ideas to kind of change up my look, kind of look more girly, and I took it in, y'all. I took it in. But later on in the relationship, I felt like I was constantly compared to exes, celebrities. I was constantly compared to people that looked better than me. I felt like I had to change completely. He would make jokes that I wasn't the best looking, but he would hide it. Like, you know those backhand comments or the jokes that, like, what is it called? Things disguised as a joke that's like hurtful. That's what it was. And he would joke about my insecurities and that hurt me a lot. He would say things like, oh, I got a beer belly and my butt is flat. Like, yo, that's me. I'm laughing hot pain, y'all. But when I say I felt hurt, my heart was shattered. I'm like, this boy saying he want me. You know, you got the honeymoon stage at first, and then it just did a 360, and it's like now he's talking down on me like he didn't really want me. He wanted me at first, now he doesn't. like anything about me and I need to change up completely. It even got to the point where I had braces and he was like, he don't think I would look good without the braces. So fast forward, it was time for me to take my braces off. And I prolonged it. I said, I want to keep these braces on. And then when I got my braces taken off, one of my teeth chipped. And then I took so long to kind of get it fixed. So now it's infected and I had to get it pulled out. Like, y'all, when I say it was bad, I was very controlled by things that he was telling me. Because, I don't know.
Are you stupid or something?
Was I stupid? Yeah, a little bit. Was I delusional? Yeah, a little bit. I gave him a lot of power over my identity. I didn't realize it at first, but I gave him a lot of power. What he said to me held a lot of weight and I believed everything he said. One of the most hurtful things that happened in high school was when people would call me a dyke. I can't admit, I did dress boyish, but did I want to be called a dyke? No, because I knew I liked boys. I didn't like girls. I didn't swing that way.
Says I'm gay.
You are gay.
Just by these lyrics, y'all know who they would call me, and it hurt my feelings. I'm gonna sing a little bit of lyrics. Ooh, ooh, nah, not too much, y'all, but that's who they would call me, and people would joke about that. But then the same ones that was joking, calling me a dyke, and you know, being a class clown, letting people laugh at me, later on, those were the same ones that was trying to get at me, talk to me, like. The tables turned so much once I actually changed a lot. But eventually my boyfriend, he started to avoid me. He would say hurtful things like why he would avoid me and how girls would come up to him saying he dated a dyke. Then I realized that he was ashamed of me. It made me question why he wanted me in the first place and why he didn't talk to somebody else that fit the image that he was looking for. He was a football player, so of course I'm like, you know, the football players be wanting like a cheerleader type girlfriend, and that wasn't me. But if he wanted me to be a cheerleader, I'm telling y'all, I would have turned around and been a cheerleader, because that's how it was. I was trying to be everything that he wanted me to be. I changed up completely, and he still avoided me. I was hurt while he thought nothing of it. I'm in my room crying, snot dripping down my nose. Y'all know that type of cry where you just like... Y'all know the ugly cry where you crying, you can't breathe and this, that, and every single night, I believe it was every single night, I'm over here crying because I'm like, dang. Watch out for the ones that want you first. I'm just playing, but I just felt like I was constantly rejected by somebody who wanted me first, and that hurt. He told me he started dating me because he liked me for me and that I didn't have to dress like an Instagram model and all of this, but his actions showed the complete opposite. I was getting manipulated. Yeah, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I felt like we couldn't have serious conversations because he would make me feel like what I was saying was bull, like I was tripping. You know those times where, you know what I'm saying, people make you feel like, girl, you tripping, or it's not even like that. I put up with a lot because I was scared to walk away. I didn't want to be alone. I would accept getting hurt a lot just because I didn't want to leave this person. I knew I loved this person, but I wasn't very sure if he loved me because of how he treated me. Whether he meant to hurt me or not, I don't know, but his offhand comments stung, and it stayed in my mind for years and years. Like, I still remember some of the things that he said that hurt me, and it still hurts. It served as a constant reminder that I would never be pretty enough. I would never be small enough. It just made me feel like I would never be enough for this person. My senior year, I changed up completely. And I mean completely. With that, I spent more hours getting ready. I would wake up probably 5, 6 o'clock to get ready. I embraced my skin a lot more. I didn't wear makeup a lot. My senior year, I just did my eyebrows and I would wear some lashes. So I didn't really put makeup on my face because I was starting to kind of, you know, like the person that I was, but I still felt a little insecure. But after all of that, y'all, he still avoided me. Then he would tell me, he would be like, who you trying to look good for? And I'm trying to look good for him, and he thinking I'm trying to look good for somebody else. When I look back at the times I felt I didn't look pretty, I feel disappointed because I'm like, I thought I was like ugly because the relationship I was in told me otherwise. And I'm just now looking at those pictures, I'm like, girl, you did not even see your beauty because you let somebody make you feel less. Even if other people told me I was pretty, I didn't believe it for myself because my relationship was telling me otherwise. It was days where I was spending hours getting dressed, and we had like a class together, first period, and he wouldn't show up. So I kind of felt like he didn't show up because he didn't want to see me. And that hurt, like, it hurt. Because I'm like, I'm doing all this to get cute for somebody, and they're literally avoiding me, making me feel like they don't want me. And I still kept trying, y'all. I still kept trying. My grades started to drop during my senior year. I was like a A+ student growing up, and I eventually worked myself down to a D in one of my classes, but I still managed to graduate with honors. That was like a shocker. Dealing with so much my senior year, I don't know how I graduated with honors. But I didn't want to disappoint my parents because I felt like they were expecting me to keep up those A's. Like those A's that you get in elementary, middle school, they not as easy to keep up when you get in high school. But I felt kind of like a disappointment because they're expecting this, so I don't want to give them nothing less. I got very lazy in high school. I didn't really feel like thinking. I feel like I was going through a lot. Like, I'm going through a lot right now. I didn't want to think about nothing. English class where you had to write all these essays and assignments, I didn't want to do none of that. I didn't want to think about these different prompts. Chasing after a boy has led to my grades declining, but I knew it was not just chasing after a boy. It was a whole lot of things. Trauma, my parents divorcing, all of these different things that happened when I was younger. Those were just like things that were catching up to me, and it was hard for me to keep up those grades because a lot was on my mind. This boy isn't a bad person, but he did say a lot of things that hurt me. But hurt people, and I would say we both were insecure in some ways, and we didn't know how to love each other. I don't even think we both loved ourselves, and we both have been through some stuff. I tried so hard to fight for the relationship, but it felt pointless after a while. I was constantly questioning, how can I love somebody so much that's so unsure about me? The relationship felt confusing, and if you're in a relationship where you're confused, trust me, that is not the one. I slowly started to lose feelings. I realized our relationship was a trauma bond. I realized we had a lot of things in common. We both got sexual very early. We both moved house to house. I saw my dad in him. My parents being divorced, I can definitely say when that stuff kind of happens, you kind of look for your dad and other people. And I saw a lot of my dad in him. He liked to cut hair. My dad is a barber. My boyfriend liked to cut hair. He would cut his own hair. He could sing. My dad could sing. He was in a choir. My mom could sing. We all can sing a little bit, you know. But yeah, he could sing. It was a lot of traumas that we both had, and that kind of like made us click. But when you're not happy with yourself and then you get into a relationship, you kind of think that it's their obligation to make you happy or feed you with these compliments. But when you don't get it, it's just like you're left with nothing. I made my boyfriend an idol, and God made me realize that recently because I thought I couldn't live without him. I didn't want to let him go. Everything that he said, I believe. I made him an idol. Yeah. But idols can be anything. Makeup can be an idol. I made makeup an idol. Lashes can be an idol. Hairstyles can be an idol. When you think you don't look good without something, you're making it an idol. God, he made me realize a lot in the season when I was isolated and away from everybody. I made makeup an idol, hairstyles. I thought I didn't look good with wigs. I'm like, no, I can't wear my real hair. Nails, nose rings, I made those an idol because I'm like, I don't look pretty without the nose rings. A lot of different things you can make an idol. And idols are basically anything that you feel you can't live without. Anything that you put before God can be an idol. And just check yourself, because I know it's a lot of things that you like, man, and those are idols. You feel like you can't live without it. If you feel like you're nothing without something, that is an idol in your life. Yeah, food can be an idol. A lot of things can be an idol that we're not sure of, but I definitely made this boy an idol. With that being said, while all of this other stuff was happening, I got in a car accident my senior year, and I totaled the car. After I got in the accident, the first thing I did was call my mom crying, because I'm like, mama, I done wrecked the car, this, that, and the third. Y'all, my lip busted, I done passed out, and I'm calling my mama crying because I'm like, I done wrecked the car. How we finna get from point A to point B and I done just totaled this car? I was mad because then I had to ask for help. We had to carpool with my grandma. I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't go see nobody. I was mad because I was driving to school. Now we got a carpool with my grandma. I was mad. But y'all, 2 months later, God blessed me with another car. And it was a 2021 car. It was 2021 and he blessed me with a 2021 car. It was a little over 2 months and I was over here crying, mad. It was definitely a short-term loss for a long-term gain. But y'all, that car was literally on its last straw. The AC wasn't working. He had to roll the window. I'm trying to think. The window wouldn't stay up. We would have to push it up. The car would get overheated, so one day you'll think you good and then you have to stop on the side of the road because the car just overheated. Like, that car was on its last straw. But that just goes to show there's a lot of things that we be holding on to, like, Lord, don't take this, Lord, don't take this. And he can give you something so much better, but you don't want to give him this thing. You don't want to give him this, but he like, I got this. It's this picture where a little girl, she got a little beard and then God got a big beard behind his back. That happened to a lot of us in our life. We don't want to hand God this small thing, but he like, if you hand me this, I can give you this. That's how it was. But yeah. After high school, I gained a lot of confidence, but I wasn't dressing very modest. I was showing my body a lot. I started smoking and drinking, eating edibles. This was a time where I was introduced to this thing. I was curious. I wanted to fit in, so I'm like, okay. Smoking kind of came like an everyday thing for me. But later on, after high school, a distraction came into my life. It looked so good too. It did. This was a time where, you know, I was smoking a lot. So one day this boy texted me and he was like, you want to smoke together, this and the third. At first I wasn't very interested. I'm like, I guess, you know what I'm saying? It didn't happen right away because, like I said, I didn't really care. But one day I actually had the time, so I ended up smoking with him. We smoked and then I was getting ready to leave and go home. Tell me why he want to start sweet talking and saying he never gave oral to somebody. I'm like, boy, if you get out of my face with that line.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Because I know good and well. So he was like, he never gave oral to somebody and he want to practice. So I'm just like, sir. I hesitated, but then eventually I'm like, what the heck? I deserve a little pleasure. Like, I'm going through a lot. I'm like, I need something to take something off. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, what the heck? Go ahead. You lying, but go ahead, do what you do. But y'all, I wasn't aware. You know when you don't really talk to a lot of people? I was in one relationship for a while, so I didn't really know the things that boys do to try to... I didn't know the manipulation tactics that boys had, the lies they would try to, you know, get over and do this. I wasn't aware of none of those things. I didn't know what type of time boys was on. I didn't know how sneaky boys could get. So one thing led to another. I let him do what he did, but we wasn't having sex. He was just pleasing me because I'm like, okay, I deserve a little, you know what I'm saying? Then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm finna get up and go. I was finna dip. And then he was like, hold on. You just gonna do me like that? You gonna leave me hanging? You can't, you know what I'm saying? We can't have sex now or something. So I'm just like, you said you wanted to. So you didn't ask for, you said you wanted to. So I'm just like, I told him no. Like, y'all, that was the difference between this time. Like the first time when I lost my virginity, I didn't say no because I was scared. But this time I actually said no. I said no. I said no. Started looking at me like, you gonna do me like that? Dang, I done did this. You gonna do me like that? Yada, yada, yada. And guess what, y'all? I gave in because I felt bad. Because I'm like, I was a people pleaser. And I would let people overstep my boundaries because I didn't want them to be upset with the answer that I gave them. So I gave in and I let the thing happen. Yep. I gave in. I let it happen. Y'all, it was actually bad though. And I'm like, I don't let this boy do this. I didn't even like it. After the situation happened, I felt bad because I still had feelings for, I don't even know if I could call him my boyfriend because it was just so confusing. But I still had feelings for the person I was talking to. And I had to tell him. One day I posted a story. Then this boy, I don't know if it's my ex or whatever. Then this boy, he texted me. He was like, I want my girlfriend back. Hard eyes or something like that. Then he started to say, things will change, we can go on more dates. I didn't know what to believe because for the longest, he felt ashamed of me. He was ignoring me, walking the other way when he saw me in the hallway. I was hurt, and now he's not so ashamed of me and he wants his girlfriend back. I felt I didn't know what to believe, and I'm like, how can he not remember how much he's hurt me? Now you're sure about me? Like, I didn't feel like that was fair. I don't remember what I said, but he was kind of hurt by my response. But in my mind, I'm like, you didn't even want me, but now you want me? It was confusing. I was looking for closure to why he treated me bad, like I was a piece of trash. And I didn't even get like a I'm sorry or I'm sorry that I treated you this way. Like, I was looking for that and I didn't get it. But later on, I told him about the situation with the other boy that I was smoking with. And that was the first time I heard him cry. And I felt bad. I felt bad, but then in my head, I'm like, I was so confused in our relationship, and he was saying he wanted his girlfriend back, so that meant we weren't together. But then he's feeling like I cheated. I was just like, it was just so confusing. Even me, I'm like, how can I say that this was not my intention to have sex with this person, but it happened? How could he know if I'm being truthful? How can he know that I said no, but then eventually I changed my answer because I was afraid of walking out on that no because this person would be upset? How can he know that the reason I lost my virginity was because I was afraid of saying no, so that led me to being afraid of saying no this time? Like, how can he know and understand these things? How can he know my mind, my way of thinking? But on the outside, it's looking like, girl, this is not no accident. You can't have sex with somebody and it was an accident. Or, you know, looking at it, it's like, girl, if you have sex with somebody, that's not, you know how when people be like, when they drunk, they do this. If you're drunk and you're doing something, you clearly wanted to do this, because when you're drunk, the truth comes out. But after I told him, he did cry, but he said it's okay, people make mistakes, but he would always bring it up and make me feel bad. And I didn't like, it was hard because he would always bring it up, and I'm like, okay, he doesn't really feel like it's okay if he's gonna keep making me feel bad about the situation. And I started to overthink, because after I had sex with somebody else, he's telling me it's okay and people make mistakes. So now I'm like, did you have sex with somebody else? Why are you saying it's okay? Is it because you did something first? In my head, I'm like, sir, why are you telling me it's okay that I had sex with somebody else? Did you have sex with somebody else? I was overthinking. My mind was just like, But I struggled with giving the wrong people attention because I didn't really get it growing up. So if anybody gave me the attention that I never got, I just would hold on to that because I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel seen, heard, all of these things, because at a young age, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel beautiful. So if somebody came along and made me feel like they saw something in me, I appreciated that, because for the longest, I felt the complete opposite. At this point, this was the time where depression was on me strong. I didn't want to live anymore. I felt like nobody saw me, nobody would care if I was dead or alive. It's like, I'm here, but I feel alone. I'm surrounded by all these people, but I still feel like nobody sees me. I still feel like nobody's in my corner. But it was one day, my grandma asked to meet up with me, and I'm just like, okay, what she want? Then she told me a story about how this girl, she won Miss USA, but she had committed suicide because she was dealing with a whole lot of stuff behind closed doors, and not even her mama knew about it. I'm just like, okay, where is she going with this? Then she told me, whatever you're thinking about doing, don't do it. After that happened, I knew eventually that my mom would find out, because they can't hold water, they can't hold nothing. They always talking about something. So I eventually knew my mom would find out. They tried taking me out to eat a few times, but I knew it was all temporary, because I would eventually start to feel alone again. It was times I felt like my mom hated me. Like, I didn't talk to her about anything because it would always turn into an argument. Every time I talked, I felt like I was bothering her. She felt like I was trying to be her mom. She wondered why I never told her anything about what I was going through, but it was just so hard. Talking to your mom should not be this hard, should it? I didn't stay with my dad, and then I'm like, how can I tell my dad about all of my girl problems? He will not understand. During this time, I got close with a girl, and she became my best friend. We're locked in, you know what I'm saying? We were locked in, and during this time, I felt like I actually needed somebody in my corner. And you know, sometimes people come in your life at the right times, and sometimes people come in your life for only a season and for a purpose, whether it's good or bad. She helped me get through my dark times, and I was starting to feel happy again. I was starting to feel like me. After a while, I felt like she was only happy when I was sad, but when I was happy, she would start to show signs of jealousy and she was sucking my energy or something. I felt like I was dealing with Delilah. So let me tell you a little about Delilah and Samson. So Samson is the strongest man. He was a leader of Israel and he got his strength from his hair. He was strong physically, but he wasn't strong spiritually. He would often do things that God didn't want him to do. He was disobedient, but God gave him a whole lot of strength and power and nobody could really overtake him because of the strength that he had. But Delilah was a sneaky prostitute and she was a Philistine. So Delilah was all up on Samson. She wanted a piece of Samson and she tricked him into revealing his God-given strength. His vulnerability led to his destruction and she eventually told the people that were trying to kill him that his strength came from his hair, so they done cut the man's hair off and now the people out to get him. But God revealed to me the intentions behind the friendship and it hurt my little heart. I tried so bad to ignore the signs. I eventually felt like I was being used. She would only text me to take her somewhere or to get something. I felt like it was eventually started to be one-sided and I started to step back. She realized, but I felt like at this point I didn't really owe her an explanation. This friendship felt like another breakup. It hurt me because she was there during some of my tough times and I was vulnerable, but then I realized that she was only there to keep me down. But when I felt like myself again, she was upset by it. You can't really be mad at the person because a lot of people go through different things. Just like how I wasn't a good friend to my best friend earlier on. I felt like this was, dang, what is it called?
5 minutes later.
Oh, when you reap what you sow, it's gonna come to me. But I felt like this was payback for me not being a good friend. And now I got somebody that's not a good friend to me. That hurt. I realized that a lot of people took my kindness for weakness and that people would just suck the energy from me. I didn't realize the light that I had and I didn't realize the type of energy that I brought. So I just allow a lot of people to just suck the life out of me, literally suck it out of me. During these times, I felt misunderstood and judged by a lot of people. Me changing my appearance up, I felt like people thought I was stuck up or arrogant. But mentally and emotionally, I still felt like that same little girl that was bullied for being chubby, that same little girl that was overlooked, the same little girl that people made fun of. I still felt like that girl, although my appearance changed and people were judging me, thinking I was a mean girl or thinking I felt like I was all that because of the switch up. Nobody really likes change unless it's them, because even looking at Adele, when she was big, people loved her, but when she lost weight, people think you on Ozempic or you can't lose weight or something wrong with you, this and the third. People judge you when you change because they are so used to being better than you in any way. So if they're better than you and then you change up and now they have nothing to like say bad about you, it's like they're upset by it. And I felt like that was my case because I felt like nobody liked me when I was big. But then when I changed, I got a little skinnier. People were looking at me like, she thinks she all that. And it just wasn't the case because I still felt like that chubby girl. But when I finally got the attention I was craving for the longest, I still wasn't happy. From the outside looking in, my life looked perfect, but I was struggling with so much. I was depressed while in Jamaica. I was in Jamaica, my life looked so pretty and all this and the third. But I'm over here facing silent battles and I'm depressed in another country. I was constantly trying to prove myself to people, seeking validation from men. I would post every day because I liked the attention that I got from it, and it was leaving me burnt out, y'all. When I tell y'all, I put a lot of focus on my appearance. I would constantly be buying clothes so that people can just see me and, you know, post on the ground with your new outfit, post on the ground with your new hairstyle. I would post every single day. Even if it wasn't every single day, it was like every other day. Because I was trying to distract myself from reality and make myself look like I had it all under control when I didn't. It was a never-ending cycle of busyness. But here's a story time of my first experience in the club. So when I first got there, I felt out of place because I wasn't drunk like everybody else, you know. Everybody else, they lit, and I'm just like, I was just there. I felt out of place until I was drunk, and then I started to like the feeling. I felt like the life of the party when I was drunk. So I'm like, okay, I like this. I need to go to the club more often. I fell in love with that feeling and I didn't want it to end. I went to the club a second time, but the third time, y'all, I drank from the bottle before I even got in the club. When I stepped foot in there, I was like drunk, and I mean drunk, like capital letter drunk. I was throwing up in a cup, throwing up water. The security guard had to escort me out. I'm outside throwing up water while everybody literally just started walking in the club. Like when I say embarrassing. One of my friends had to call my dad. I was so embarrassed because I'm like, my dad got to see me like this. I was embarrassed, but he actually comforted me with open arms because he was like, he remembered those times where he was in this same predicament. So he made me feel all right knowing that he wasn't judging me. But y'all, do you think that was my last time clubbing? No. No, it was not the last time, because like I said, I fell in love with that high. I fell in love with being the life of the party. I fell in love with just the feeling of drunkenness, and I just was happy to get away from reality. I didn't want to face what I was going through. I didn't want to face my trauma. I didn't want to face none of that. I was trying to forget about it. I was trying to run away from all of it, and it was just a never-ending cycle. While I was seeking approval from other people, I started to become arrogant and prideful, and God just looked at me like, yeah, this is done. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I can say is, unless you're trying to be crying for months, maybe even years, do not pray this prayer. Lord, remove anything or anyone that's not for me. Because Lord, when I tell you, get you some tissues, because he revealed to me my friendships weren't my friends. I had a group of friends. Things were starting to get one-sided. I was the only one texting people, hitting them up, trying to see if they want to hang out, this and the third. And that hurt me, because I realized during the times that I was, you know, trying to be a therapist and all this for everybody else, nobody was there for me. And the whole time I'm hurt, because I'm thinking these people are my friends. Once I backed off and I stopped texting them, nobody hit me up. It took a long while for somebody to hit me up, and I just ignored it once they eventually did hit me up, because I'm like, dang, these people don't really love me like I think they do. But after all of it got bad. I was taking pictures with me smoking and posting on my page. Like, if I look at it now, I just be like, girl, who hurt you? Because I looked depressed. I looked like I was hurt. Y'all, I was real skinny too. I wasn't eating or none of that, and I was trying to hide it by posting all these pictures, you know, going on trips. That's what a lot of people tend to do. They try to hide or try to run away from their pain. You really can't, because you still hurt, and the smoking, the drinking, all of that, it's not going to fix it. Because of course they fix it temporarily, but then what do you do when you're looking in the mirror and you don't like yourself and you're still hurt from things that happened years ago, things that happened when you were a little girl, a little boy? This was something that only God could have fixed, and although I didn't want to change, he said, okay, you don't want to change, I'm gonna change you. It was a point where everything just stopped. He said, okay, this is your time where I need you to just get away from everybody. I went into an isolation season. I didn't even want to. You need to get off social media, no texting nobody. Y'all, once it was like, okay, get off social media, I'm like, you know when people get off social media and people assume, oh, she must be depressed or dealing with something. The whole time I'm still worried about people. I'm like, people gonna think I'm depressed. People gonna think something wrong with me because I ain't posting for all this time, and I'm still over here worrying about people. But God was like, this is exactly why I need to pull you from all of this stuff. I done lost all my friends. He's revealing to me the intentions behind different people, and I'm just over here hurt. I cried losing my friends, cried losing all of this stuff, because I'm like, Lord. And then I didn't want to be alone, because I felt like me being alone was just gonna bring all of this stuff to the light, and I'm just like, I didn't want to deal with it. I was trying to run away from it. I was trying to hide from my trauma and all of this. But he put me in this isolation season to kind of show me the things that I needed to heal from, show me the people that I needed to forgive, show me who I was and how I was trying to, you know, please people, and how I was still stuck in people pleasing. It was just a lot. I was mad at him, because I'm like, Lord, you done took all these people away from me. Now I'm alone. You must want me to. When I said I was dealing with suicidal thoughts, I feel like the only thing that really kept me alive aside from God was that my sister had just had my nephew, and I did not want my nephew to live not being able to meet me. I feel like that was one of the things that really kept me alive, because during my senior year I was going through a lot. I didn't want to be alive during that time. I really feel like my nephew kept me alive. I was going through so much and I didn't show it. I tried not to show it. I didn't tell nobody. My family didn't know about none of this stuff. It was a lot, but he made me realize that I needed to grow to be the person that I needed to be. I needed to know how to be a good friend. I needed to know what true love was. It made me realize that I never really had real love because all of the relationships that I got in, they were lustful. So I never really experienced love for real. And this was the time God was telling me I had to let go of the person I felt like I couldn't live without. I made him an idol. The last conversation I had with this person, my ex, was 2022. He told me we should start over, get to know each other all over again, start anew, start going on dates and all of this stuff. But hearing that, it kind of triggered me because all I could remember was how my relationship was before, how I was treated, how I felt like he didn't like me until it was too late and I felt like my feelings were gone. Or they wasn't really gone, but they had faded away. And that's when I started to have like anxiety attacks. There was a lot of things I haven't forgiven him for yet, and there was a lot of things I haven't forgiven myself for. So hearing him say we should start over, start fresh, I didn't know what to do, how to handle it, and I wasn't ready for it. My quick instinct was to say okay, because again, that was something that I wanted. I wanted to start fresh. I wanted us to work out. But then eventually I changed my mind and I told him I wasn't ready. I told him that I needed space to focus on myself. He responded and said he thought I had that space already because we were like on and off. We would talk to each other, give each other space. Like I knew we were talking to other people and all of that, but it was like, you know, those toxic relationships where, you know, you still talk to somebody while you're talking to other people and you just like, it was a lot. But after he texted me saying he thought I had that space and trying to see what was wrong, I didn't text him back. And he respected that, so he gave me that space. During that time, I started to feel a little better about myself. But what he didn't know was that the space that I needed didn't really have an end to it yet. How can I say this? The space that I needed, it wasn't a short period of time, like a couple days or weeks. I don't remember how long it was that he gave me. I don't think it was that long. I would really probably say like a couple of days or a week or so that he gave me space. But then one morning I was at work and he texted me and he was like, hey. Once I seen that in my head, I'm like, oh no, this must be a test or something, because I knew in my heart that God was telling me I had to let this person go, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to at all. I knew in my heart that God was telling me, okay, you have to let this person go because you're making him an idol. If somebody isn't for you, you will never be at peace. No matter how much I loved him, I couldn't text him back because I knew that God was constantly telling me you have to let him go. And I was being disobedient for the longest. I'm like, okay, Lord, I can live for you and I can still do the things that I want to do. I can live for God. I can still smoke and drink. I can live for God and I can still have sex outside of marriage. I can smoke and drink and I can still be jamming to NBA Youngboy, No Cap, and Lil Baby. Like, I wanted to do that. I wanted to dilly and dally into sin and all this other stuff while living for God. And God was telling me, no. You can't. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to get this person up. He's over here looking like things just kept happening. You know how you're like, God, give me a sign. Lord, give me a sign. Make it so clear that I won't miss it. And you still just be like, God, I know this ain't the sign. Send another one. And that was me. There was so many things that was happening that was just telling me, girl, you gotta let him go. It was a point where I'm like, okay, God telling me not to talk to this person. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have sex with him again. Sex with him one more time. And then that's when I got a yeast infection. It was like my body was literally rejecting him because God was telling me you have to let him go. And I didn't want to. I was hurt after that. I'm like, dang, what's going on? Is he getting around this and the third? But really, sometimes God will make things happen so that you can, like, you know what I'm saying? God will do things or make things will happen because God wants you to change, and because I don't know, Lord, what is going on? It was really hard for me to let him go. When I didn't text him back, I felt so bad. I cried because I'm like, you really want me to ghost this person? I felt bad. I can't even sit here and say I didn't feel bad. Even now, I'm like, I done ghosted this person. I didn't even give them no explanation. But then again, it's like they don't owe you no explanation. You know how you hold on to good parts of somebody, although so many bad things can happen. And that's what I was doing. I was feeling like I should have gave him an explanation to me needing space, me trying to heal myself, Not even because of him, but because of my inner child. All of the things that I've been trying to run from. I needed that time to myself, but I didn't know how much time I needed. Years had passed and I'm just still feeling bad because I'm like, Lord, you telling me to let this person go. You don't want me to, you know what I'm saying? You want me to take this time to heal, but you can't heal from something without recognizing stuff that you need to heal from and without like separating from, because all I was holding on to was the times where I was struggling and the times where he made me laugh. He was funny, was trying to hold on to the good parts of this person, even though they did so many things that hurt me. He was like my first real boyfriend, and no matter what he did to hurt my feelings, I still love this person. I know we are both probably still healing from things, and we weren't ready for a relationship because it was a lot of things that we haven't healed from. But letting go is definitely not easy. I can't sit up here and tell you, oh, you need to let your ex go or you need to do this, because it is not easy. Even these, how many years has it been? 3 years. 3 years of no contact, and it was hard. Some days I just wanted to tell him what happened, why this happened, and see how he's doing, but then I feel like God doesn't want that to happen because he's gonna think I'm being disobedient or I'm looking back. You know the story where Lot's wife looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt. I feel like that is me. If I was in the old times, I would have been turned to a pillar of salt, because there were so many times where I'm looking back, I'm like, dang, I wish this would have happened, or dang, I wish I still had these friends, or dang, I just wish I wasn't alone, to the point where I may have just settled for these people. I just feel like I would have been a pillar of salt, because I've looked back so many times and I'm just like, dang, I just wish things would have happened a lot differently. I hope he's doing good. Before we stopped talking, I feel like he was getting a relationship with God. I don't know how that is now. I hope he still has. I hope he actually knows God, because I know we both didn't have God and our relationship was lustful. But if you don't heal, you will continue to attract negative things, negative people, negative situations. Because for the longest, I have been trying to be the person other people want me to be. I didn't know who I was for myself. I was always doing things to make other people feel happy. I didn't even know what I liked. Being in the isolation season, God just opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't know. And even now, there's a lot of things that I haven't fully healed from, like a lot of traumas and things I still am like struggling to, I wouldn't say forgive, because you know, some things I'll be like, okay, I forgive, and then things will trigger me, and it just makes me, during the times where I was alone and dealing with this stuff, all I'm hearing is, girl, you stupid. How can you let this happen? That's what I was hearing. That just made my suicidal thoughts skyrocket, because I'm like, Lord, you must not want me to want to live, because how am I dealing with all of this trauma? How am I dealing with all of this? Nobody's helping me, just looking at me. Just felt like, I felt like I just wanted to off myself, because dealing with all of that stuff at once, it was hard. Healing is definitely not a one day, one and done type thing. Healing is an ongoing process, because things can trigger you and make you realize that you have not fully healed from something, but you do need to forgive, because bitterness is not good. Okay, let me read something. A 5-day Bible devotional I read called Forgiving What You Can't Forget by Lisa states, forgiveness is more satisfying than revenge. Revenge is you paying twice for a hurt that someone else did to you. You may think it will make you feel better in the end, but long term, it will always cost you more emotionally and spiritually than you ever want to pay. The only thing your revenge will do is add your wrongdoing on top of theirs. Forgiveness doesn't let the other person off the hook. It actually places them in God's hands, and then as you walk through the forgiveness process, it softens your heart. The peace from forgiveness is more satisfying than revenge. Healing can feel impossible when there has been no resolution with those who have hurt us. We want them to admit that they were wrong, to make things right, to at least apologize. But I've learned that our ability to heal cannot depend on anyone else's choices but our own. There's also a 7-day devotional called Getting Past Your Past by Harmony Grillo. It reads, replacing the lies. I used to believe a lot of lies. They were so stuck in my mind that they became my personal truth. I believed that I was worthless, stupid, and unlovable. I believed that I was destined to be abused or abandoned by any male I ever cared for. My life reflected what I thought to be true because I made choices based on those deep beliefs. In essence, my thoughts shaped my beliefs dictated my actions, and ultimately, led to habitually poor choices. A long history of abuse led me to believe that I was the kind of girl who deserved to be abused. It shaped the way I viewed myself in the world around me and kept me stuck in destructive relationships. But after all this, I just want to say that God literally changed everything. I was depressed, sitting here crying every day, every night, feeling like I had no purpose. I had no reason for living. I was running to drugs, I was running to sex, I was running to, all of these different things that didn't bring me long-term happiness. I was still fighting silent battles that I didn't tell nobody about because I felt like nobody would care what I was going through. I was a people pleaser. I was trying to fit in because for so long I didn't fit in when I was little. I was fat, chubby, feeling like an outcast. So when I finally got the attention, I kept trying to do things so that people could love me, do things so that I could fit in, but God didn't want me to fit in. He wanted me to stand out. Being in isolation season made me realize the potential I had, made me realize what I liked, made me realize who I am, who God says that I am. It made me realize my past doesn't define me. You may be looking at your life like, Lord, nobody gonna forgive me for this, or you have done so much wrong. You here and you done heard all the stuff that I have done. God gave me grace and He changed my life around. I can't say that living a Christian life is perfect. It's not perfect. It's hard. Living for God is hard. Trying to deny your flesh and give up things that you want is hard. It is hard. Like, it is hard. It's not easy at all because you may want something so bad and God's telling you to give it up. Living for God is hard. But you can't be for God and for the world at the same time. You can either be hot or cold. God don't want you warm. You cannot be warm. You have to be either hot or cold. You either with Him or you not with Him. Because you can't be dilly-dallying into sin. You have to stand out. You can't be like the people of this world because that won't cut it. God's going to look at you and say He never knew you because you thinking, oh, I done went to church, I done did all of this. You thinking you done lived the life that God wanted you to live. You done did this for somebody, you done did a good deed. But God gonna look at you and say He never knew you because you did not really sacrifice anything in your life. You didn't change. You looked like the crowd. You didn't look different. You didn't stand out from the crowd. You can't sin and think, okay, I can sin and then I can still live for God. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. And even with change, everyone doesn't have the mindset to change. Sometimes you're gonna have to lose some friends. Sometimes you're gonna have to lose some people because some people don't like change. They will hate you for wanting to change because they want you to be comfortable being where they are. They don't want you to be better than them, so they're gonna try to keep you where they are. There's some of you that feel like you are too broken and God wants all the broken pieces of you because He can put each broken piece back together. You may be thinking your life right now can't change, but I'm telling you right now that it can change. You may be in your room crying. You may be in your room wanting to die. You may be in your room feeling like nobody loves you, feeling like nobody sees you, nobody hears you. But God can show you otherwise. Your past doesn't define you. What you have done, nothing can stop God from loving you. There may be people that made you feel less. There may be people that made you feel like you are nothing and you can't be nothing. But God can literally turn it around and make you feel. Think of this. If you ever had suicidal thoughts, just think in your mind, if you're having suicidal thoughts, the devil wants you gone because clearly God has something in store for you. God sees something in you. So the devil wants you gone. That's why he playing all these suicidal. He wants you to feel like you don't want to live because God has a greater purpose for you. But if I would have came into this isolation knowing how long it would have taken, I would have said, oh, bump it, Lord, I'm going back. Because it literally, I was off of social media for probably about 2 years. I wasn't talking to nobody. Even now, it's been about 3 years and I have not had sex for probably like 3 years. Like, it was like, round of applause. Like, that's big for me.
I haven't had no sex!
I haven't talked to nobody, and I know this is what God wanted because, like I said, I was struggling with lust. I was very lustful. That was something that really affected me. A year ago, I would have never thought I would be where I am today. If you literally see me, you know that change is possible. Sharing your story, sometimes it can feel shameful. Me telling y'all all this stuff, I'm like, Lord, I don't want to do this. Even this, I didn't want to tell you all my business because now you feel like you will be judged. But I know God is going to use my story to help somebody. Me being vulnerable will help somebody out. Even though I'm like, dang, Lord, I'm telling people all my business. What the heck? I can definitely say I feel 200-300 pounds lighter. Getting all of this off, it does make you feel lighter. Things things that you are still dealing with and you're hurt, bringing it to light and saying it out loud, it kind of helps you heal. You can't heal from something that you don't acknowledge. It just won't work. You may have to let some people go, and people may be looking at you and judging you because you living for God now. Oh, you holy, huh? Some people may be feeling like that. You was just living a life of sin. You was just at the club partying. You was just this, that, and the third. But now you godly now? Like, huh? I ain't gonna lie. Some people may feel like that. Oh, you holy, huh? Oh, you think you bigger than the program now, huh? You think you better than me now? They don't even be like that. Sometimes you have to get away from the crowd, and some people may not like you for it. But yes, I'm holy now. Like, I guess I'm holy now. And even now, sometimes I feel like my family feel like I'm a Jesus freak, but you rather have a Jesus freak or meeting me at the grave because I done killed myself. Pick your poison, because I wanted to be dead and gone, but now you got a Jesus freak as a sibling. Now you got a Jesus freak as a daughter. Take it or leave it, because I could have been gone. Y'all would have been visiting my gravesite. Take it or leave it. But sometimes, even living for God, you feel misunderstood or you feel left out. Right now, I'm like, Lord, I just want some friends. I'm tired of being alone. I don't feel like I need people, but sometimes living a life for God, it's hard finding genuine people that's on the same path as you. It is hard because sometimes I feel like people just look at me like, girl, like, give it a rest. Jesus is not. But if you actually experience God for yourself, you will actually see and realize why your girl is a Jesus freak. When I was in this room crying late nights, who was there to help me? Only one person. When I felt like people kept leaving me, when I felt like nobody would stay around, when I felt like I had to perform to keep people around, I felt like an outcast. You know what I'm saying? God was there. So call me a Jesus freak or not, but if you actually experience him and if you just accept him into your life, just give him a chance, you will be a Jesus freak too. I want you to know that broken crayons still color. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone for God to use you. If you ever feel like you're stuck in that the situation you're in right now cannot change, seasons always change and there's a time for everything. Let me get the scripture out. Like Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Y'all, when I tell y'all, seasons always change. Just remember, if you're in a certain season right now, just remember that that season is gonna have to come to an end. It has to. It has to. It's never just all summer. It's never all winter. It's never all fall. Like, the seasons change, y'all. It's changing. Your right now is not forever, okay? God made me realize in my isolation season that I needed to be alone so I don't settle for counterfeit. I needed to be alone so I know how to be a good friend. I know how to be a good wife, because I'm not trying to be no girlfriend. I'm trying to be a wife. That's me. I needed to be alone so that I know how to set boundaries, because growing up, I was a people pleaser. I was afraid of saying no, so I would always do things just so that I could please other people, even if it was going against what I wanted. There were even times where I felt like everything that I went through was punishment. Punishment for all of the stuff that I did. I struggled for real. Even in the Bible, so many people went through things. Even if you're going through dark times, you're never are gonna have a life guaranteed with no trouble. I know a lot of people are looking at God and feel like, okay, God, why you let this happen? This, that, and the third. Nobody will never have a life just guaranteed with all good. If everything is good, how can God be good? God can only be good if some things go bad. You gotta let go of this image of feeling like living for God is gonna be perfect. No bad things can happen, because things are gonna happen. They are. But this season just made me realize that my isolation season was a season of learning, maturing, preparation, healing, rest, forgiveness, boundary setting, and becoming a better version of myself. How I kind of got through my isolation season, I was journaling a lot. Y'all see this? One day God told me to write my story from beginning to end, and I did that. It was hard. It took me so long. Probably like a year or two ago, I tried recording this same video and it didn't work. Everything happens for a reason. For so long, I'm like, dang, Lord, I was supposed to be and do this, but this is the timing that he wanted me to do it. So now I realize that everything happens for a reason. During this time, I just been journaling. Get you a journal and just write all your thoughts out. When I tell you, this was me the whole time journaling. That's like journaling. I'm telling you, y'all, this will help. this whole book is filled up. Like, get you a journal and get to writing. I know y'all got some stories that y'all need to tell. Every story is a good story. But whatever season you are in, trust and believe that it has to come to an end. If you give God a chance to change your life, he can change your brokenness. He can change your depression. He can change those suicidal thoughts. He can change all of those things. He can change your story. Don't be ashamed of where you came from. I know everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different background, how they grew up. No matter how your life may have been, he can change it. He can change it. No one can tell your story like you can. So just let God continue to write your story, because if you got the pencil, things can just go all type of left, right, and wrong. But if you give God the pencil to write your story, he can finish it and change it around. But this made me realize that allowing people to see me at my lowest, me being vulnerable, is going to help somebody out, because Lord, I just pray that you give God a chance, because Lord knows what he can do in your life. Because if God can use me, if he can use my brokenness, he can use yours too. I just want y'all to know that God loves you. He sees you. You may be feeling unseen. You may feel unheard, unloved. You may feel like you are too broken. You may feel like you aren't deserving of love, like your past defines you. God can literally flip the script. It may be hard living for God, but just know your reward will be in heaven. But I just want to thank y'all so much for hearing me rant. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Because if you stay to the end, just know God got something for you. And I ain't gonna lie, living for God is not all cupcakes and rainbows. Don't think you just need to hear all uplifting comments about God, because it is not easy. Living for God is not easy at all. But he can help you with all of the things that you're dealing with. I hope you heal from the things you don't talk about. If you just give God a chance, you stay to the end of this video. I know that this was for you, and I'm just glad that I can just pour into you. Thank you so much for watching, and I just pray that the Lord guides you into your next steps and helps you heal your inner child. Bye guys.
As soon as I stop worrying,